Nick here, hope you guys are doing well, and a cursory glance of internet headlines will quickly reveal Facebook's precipitous yet sadly familiar position at the center of the internet's hot seat. But I feel that much criticism aimed at the platform has been excessive and potentially a bit misinformed. Yes, Facebook has been clumsy and careless, that much should be clear, but devious, bad-intentioned, and fully at fault? I'm not so sure. Don't get me wrong, I fully think that Facebook has rightly come under fire, and I can't say that I like what the platform has become. But I also think that as users, we must also accept our own complicity in its downfall. There is a weighty hypocrisy that underlies our social media use. We immediately expect perfection out of the engineers that build our products and remain unwilling to accept the lengthy process of repair whenever our behavior mucks things up. So today I'm going to spend my time talking about Facebook, but in two very different lights, the bad and the good. And in the hopes to explain why things aren't always as they seem, attribute this discrepancy to the wrongdoings of both Facebook, but also its massive user base. Let's check it out. Okay, first up, the bad. The obvious avenue for criticism of Facebook grounds itself in the irony that is Mark Zuckerberg's new mission to build community and bring the world closer together. In my opinion, weaponized networks of friends that form ideological echo chambers aren't indicative of community, and a newsfeed that is now full of sponsored content and deceitful reporting doesn't seem to be bringing the world any closer together. Moreover, travails like the myopic launch of Messenger Kids, magical VR tours of struggling nation-states, and the privacy-obviating manipulation of user data all attest to Facebook's wayward footing. Clearly, one thing is for certain. The more liking, scrolling, and messaging that I do, the more disconnected I seem to feel from the realities of life that Facebook ironically tries to facilitate. By the way, I do talk a lot more about this issue in my newsletter below, so click on it and subscribe if you get the chance. But moving right along, the most egregious lapse in judgment for Facebook comes with the permissive and stagnant effort to combat unethical information use. Cambridge Analytica's brazen attempt at the behavioral manipulation of 50 million Facebook users not only surfaced as a statistically significant result in the 2016 presidential election, but also showed a shameless inaction on Facebook's part. In a firestorm of data breaches and privacy pleas, Facebook's reluctance to protect its users, like a dog barking in a coffee shop, shows little awareness for the delicate reality that it pervades. Now, before I continue with why I don't think all of this is Facebook's fault, let me just say that this whole Cambridge Analytica mess is singularly Facebook's doing. I completely understand the shameless disservice that I would be committing if I said that we as users had any part in this mess in particular. Okay, back to where I left off. Hopefully by now I've showed the ease with which we can smother Facebook in this drape of disdain and criticism and pure hatred. Surely all of these screw-ups are the sign of an ineffective and irrelevant platform, right? I actually disagree with that. What about all the incredible communities of muscular dystrophy patients that bond under the weight of their invariably difficult circumstances? Or the woman in Kenya who's trying to use Facebook to build out her fashion business? Or the Saudi Arabian woman collective that's using Facebook to ship goods overseas? Or the people in third world countries with spotty cell reception who rely on the use of Messenger? Or even amazing and exceptional research that Facebook is doing in providing worldwide crisis relief. As you can probably tell, I can't help but balk at the lazy assumption that Facebook is inherently toxic for communities everywhere. To uninspiringly do so would not only spread misinformation, but would give users this false notion that they are innocent in the disruption of their content, which they are very clearly not. Let me explain. As one of my favorite authors, David Eagleman, writes, technology becomes basic, universal, and invisible before our eyes. This means that we grow a familiarity with status updates and photo albums and very soon become indifferent to it. And as a result, we turn to sponsored content and flash reporting to fill the void. And when this stuff begins its very predictable wilt into sensationalism and wishful thinking, we point to Facebook and say, hey, you're at fault for initially corrupting our newsfeed with this data in the first place. And you can see how that's not necessarily fair. In other words, our unceasing plea to subsist on new content drives Facebook to offer pivoted, potentially misguided features. And it creates this unsustainable back and forth process of creation and consumption that is clearly the doing of both parties. If you don't like what Facebook has become, fine, but don't succumb to the naive rejection of your own involvement. Facebook brashly strikes me as the imperceptible governor of our social lives, and though there is much to fear about that reality, I can't say that I'm not worried by our behavior as users that seems to ruin the inherent promise of platforms like Facebook. Ultimately, it is very clear that Facebook is deserving of criticism, but I also feel that we must understand our role, responsibility, and complicity as users in helping to shape its future. As always, thanks so much for watching. If you guys want to read more, please click the link down below. It will take you to my newsletter where I publish frequent essays about technology, science, culture, and near everything in between. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.